Hey there, and welcome to another trip report. I'm starting off today in Valencia, Spain, getting ready to head home to Montreal. I'm on my way to Valencia Airport where I'll be catching Lufthansa Flight 1843 up to Munich in economy class, and then a connecting flight on to Montreal later this afternoon. It's 8:30 a.m. right now as I'm arriving at the airport, and my flight to Munich departs at 12:10 p.m, so that gives me about 3.5 hours to get checked in and clear security. Valencia Airport consists of one main terminal building with departures on the upper level and arrivals on the lower. Stepping inside the terminal on the departures level, to my right are check-in counters 1 through 20, and to my left are check-in counters 21 through 63. Taking a look at the departures board, Lufthansa check-in for my flight is at counters 53 through 62, down at the other end of the terminal. With the busy summer travel season well underway, I decided to get here super early this morning to make sure I had enough time to clear security. Little did I know that Lufthansa's check-in counters at Valencia Airport only open 2 hours before departure, meaning that I wouldn't be able to drop off my baggage at the counter for another 90 minutes. Annoyed, but comforted by the short-looking security lines, I made myself comfortable at a coffee shop in the check-in hall until 10:10 a.m. when I was allowed to check in. The Lufthansa check-in area, also used by Swiss and Austrian airlines, doesn't have any self-serve kiosks, so all passengers checking in or dropping a bag have to queue to visit the counter. Thanks to my Star Alliance Gold status with Air Canada, I was allowed access to the priority check-in line for business class and first class travelers. There was no line for the priority counter, so I was able to see an agent right away. My economy class ticket includes one checked bag weighing 23 kilograms, and it's important to note that for economy passengers, Lufthansa also has a weight limit on carry-on items as well, with a maximum weight of 8 kilograms for your one carry-on bag. The check-in agent did ask to weigh our carry-ons, which surprised me, but thankfully they were within the limit. In addition to physical claim tags for my checked bag, which the check-in agent gave me, Lufthansa also emails you a digital copy, which I thought was pretty neat. After spending about 5 minutes at the check-in counter having my documents checked and bags tagged and taken, I'm now off to security screening, which is only a 2-minute walk from the Lufthansa counters. The line for general security this morning was quite minimal, so perhaps arriving at the airport 3.5 hours early was a bit overkill. I was through screening in under 5 minutes and ready to make my way to the gate. First though, the obligatory walk through the airport duty-free. After exiting duty-free, there are more shops, cafes, and restaurants, all of which look very new and recently renovated. The terminal in general is a strange mix of old and new, with some very modern elements and some rather outdated items as well, like these departures boards. Taking a look at the departures board, the gate for my flight is not being shown yet, so I'll explore the terminal a bit more. Gate 12, where I am now, is the end of the older part of the terminal, and heading down towards gates 13 through 22, the space here is very modern, with high ceilings, huge windows, and lots of greenery. There's a contract lounge located here as well, which is open to Star Alliance Gold members as well as business class travelers of participating airlines. There's also tons of seating available and even high tables with outlets for getting work done. There's free Wi-Fi available throughout the terminal that's easy to access and only requires entering an email address. While I was touring the rest of the terminal, my flight was assigned gate 11 for today, so I made my way there to wait for boarding. The gate area consists of some basic rows of seating, but no power outlets are available. It's 11:50 a.m. right now, and the inbound aircraft for my flight has just arrived. I'll be on board this 3-year-old Airbus A320 that was delivered new to Lufthansa in September 2019, and also happens to be the newest A320 CEO in Lufthansa's fleet as of November 2022. At 11:55 a.m., boarding for my flight got underway 15 minutes behind schedule, starting with Group 1 passengers. Lufthansa's boarding groups are assigned as Group 1 for Han Circle members, Senators, or Star Alliance Gold members, Group 2 for business class or economy flex travelers, Group 3 for economy passengers with a window seat, Group 4 for economy passengers with a middle seat, and finally Group 5 for economy passengers with an aisle seat. After a quick boarding pass and ID check, we made our way down to ground level to walk out to the aircraft. As we got outside and into the 35-degree heat and blazing sun, the ground staff stopped us and told us that the aircraft isn't ready yet. Myself and roughly 20 other passengers were stuck standing out in the sun, while the remainder queued in the interior hallway. We waited here for about 15 minutes before finally being allowed to proceed to the aircraft, at which point we were all very hot and not exactly sure why the gate agents would start boarding before the aircraft was ready. Heading out to the aircraft, we'll get some great close-up views of this Airbus A320. Lufthansa presently operates 49 A320ceos with 2 more on order, and they also have an additional 30 of the newer A320neo in their fleet as well. These aircraft are used on many of the airline's routes throughout Europe and into the Middle East. Climbing the stairs and stepping on board the aircraft at the front entry door, we'll first pass through the business class cabin, which for today's flight consists of 4 rows with 16 seats in a 2-2 seating configuration. These are the exact same seats as those found back in economy class, and the only difference in business is that the middle seat in the row of 3 is blocked, so only 2 passengers are seated in each row of 3 seats. With a movable partition between business and economy, this means that the airline can adjust the proportion of the 180 seats on board that are used for business class depending on demand. In economy on this flight, we have 156 standard seats in a 3-3 seating configuration. I'm booked in seat 20F for today's flight, which is a window seat on the right side of the aircraft. Looking at the seats, the surface is a grey leather, which overall makes the cabin look very bland. I can't help but liken it to that of a low-cost carrier. All we're missing is advertisements plastered to the overhead bins. Taking a look at the legroom in the seat, without a bag stored underneath, I have plenty of space for my feet, but with a bag, it's definitely more cramped. There isn't very much legroom, with these seats having 30 inches of pitch, but at 5'10", there's enough space for my knees to be comfortable. In addition to under-seat storage, there's space in the overhead bins as well, but these do fill up quickly, so boarding early helps secure those spots. The seats are 18 inches wide and have an armrest on either side, with only the armrest to my left being movable. You'll also notice that there's no recline button on the armrest, as none of the seats on this aircraft recline. Taking a look at the seat back in front, the first thing you'll notice is that there are no entertainment screens at any seat on this aircraft. Instead, at the top of the seat, we have a pouch for storing the provided reading materials. Taking a look at what's provided, we have the safety information card for the Airbus A320, a couple air sickness bags, and a menu for the onboard food and drink purchases. Below the pouch for the reading materials, we have a tray table that folds out from the seat back, which is proving to be more difficult to operate than expected. After finally getting it extended, you can see that it's a decent size, but not huge, and is mounted on rails such that it can slide outwards towards you. And at the bottom of the seat back below the tray table, we have a mesh pouch for storing personal items. On the right side of the seat backs in front, there are hooks for hanging your jacket, though these are definitely not being used this time of year. With the seat tour done, let's take a look at the view out the window. Seat 20F is located just after the wing, giving great views of the wing and everything down below as well.
Geplant werden wir voraussichtlich jedoch in München ankommen. Die genauen Details habe ich aber später, wie üblich, und natürlich auch Anschlussgeld. Heran und müssen Sie auf Mund und Nase. Danach hilft es mit den Kindern oder Gäste, die Hilfe benötigen.
It's 12:35 p.m. now, boarding is complete, and the safety demonstration is getting underway as we push back from the gate 25 minutes behind schedule. With the engines up and running, we're now taxiing over to Valencia Airport's runway 12. This departure will take us out to the east, over the city, and then over the Mediterranean, where we'll turn north to begin our track towards Germany. Expected flight time to Munich today is just over 2 hours. Climbing up to our cruising altitude off the east coast of Spain, it's a gorgeous day for flying with not a cloud in the sky. The windows on these A320s are quite small, but I do have access to 2 full windows in my seat, with each having its own pull-down window shade for blocking out light. Taking a look around the seat a bit more, on the overhead panel above the seat we have personal reading lights, personal adjustable air conditioning vents, and attendant call buttons. In terms of connectivity options in the seat, there are no AC power outlets available at any seat, but there are USB 3.0 and USB-C ports located in between the seats, with 2 of each type for every 3 economy seats. About 10 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew commenced the in-flight service. There's no complimentary food offered on this flight, and all drinks other than water have to be purchased as well. The options available for purchase can be found in the Onboard Delights menu in the seat back pocket, and include a range of snacks and meals like sandwiches, salads, cakes, chips, nuts, and candy, and a range of soft drinks, juices, beer, wine, and other spirits. It's also important to note that all purchases must be made with a card or contactless payment method. As the crew came through, every passenger was given a complimentary water bottle and asked if they'd like to purchase anything else. With the service finished, the flight deck gave us a nice update on our routing for today, up through France, over the Alps, and into southern Germany.
Right now, and we'll go up to short ride to the left hand.
1 hour down and 1 hour to go. I'm planning to spend the rest of the flight getting some work done. I'm able to use a 15-inch laptop in this seat with a little room to spare, and it's nice knowing that the seat in front can't suddenly recline and crush my screen. There's no Wi-Fi available on board this aircraft, and without AC power outlets to plug into, my working time is limited to my battery's remaining charge. In the last hour of the flight, the crew came through the cabin again and handed out a small chocolate to every passenger, so I guess that's going to be lunch for me today. Taking a walk to the back of the aircraft, here we have 2 lavatories for the economy cabin, along with the economy class galley behind the curtain. Inside the lavatory, it's extremely small and I can barely turn around. Somehow, they've also managed to fit a changing table in here too, which is quite impressive. The faucet for the sink is controlled by a button, which gives you a flow of water for about 10 seconds. Back at my seat, there's about 40 minutes to go before landing. Throughout the flight, the crew did a really nice job of providing regular updates on where we were and what we were flying over, which is a really nice touch to allow passengers to have context on what they're seeing down below, especially given that there are no entertainment screens to follow along on the map.
Our route back to the left-hand side, a small one, so it's marching to the left and it's route to the right. In 18 minutes will be flight time to our destination.
Besatzung möchte sich nun für ihn verabschieden. Wir hoffen, der Flug mit uns hat Ihnen gefallen. Vielen Dank, dass Sie heute unsere Gäste waren. Wir wünschen jetzt noch einen schönen Sonntag, gegebenenfalls eine angenehme Weiterreise und auf Wiederschauen. Welcome to the airport of Munich, dear guests. Kindly remain seated with the seatbelts fastened. You have reached your parking position and the seatbelts on the above have been switched off. Captain Böse and the...
After a bumpy approach and landing, we've arrived at Munich International Airport and are just pulling into our gate on the airport's Terminal 2. I'll be transferring to Terminal 1 for my connecting flight this afternoon, but I have about 2 hours to make that transfer, which should be plenty of time. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now for some comments on the experience overall. Lufthansa's Intra-Europe service is quite bare bones in terms of both in-seat comforts and onboard service. On this 2-hour flight, there were no entertainment screens, AC power outlets, or Wi-Fi, and the in-flight service consisted of a water bottle and a small chocolate, with other food and drinks only available for purchase. Having done similar flights with Lufthansa just 3 years prior, where a complimentary sandwich or pastry was served depending on the time of day, along with a complimentary drink of your choice, this is a big step backwards and feels much more like a low-cost airline experience, while Lufthansa's prices certainly don't reflect that. Aside from the no-frills nature of the experience, it was an easy and comfortable flight.